Hey guys, this is my first YouTube video of different things. I'm not real good about doing a lot of videoing and such as that, but thought maybe you guys would like to see some of my knives that's been passed down to me since the early 1800s when my family came here. Through research, my family's come from England, of course, over to the United States in the 1600s and made their way from Maryland down to Virginia, over to North Carolina, to the Appalachian Mountains, and then here to Middle Tennessee. So I've just got 3 or 4 knives with me here today that I thought maybe you guys would like to see, that kind of shows the different styles, different ages of how those knives were designed, because the people had to make their own knives, you know, of course, and forged them. I don't actually know the way that they did these. I know that the oldest one that I have is around 1813, and it belonged to my 3rd great granddaddy that came from, his family came from Maryland down to Virginia, and in his later years, he was around 65 or 70 years old. He lived to be 83. In his later years, he actually went from Virginia on down to North Carolina with the rest of the family. Were moving south. So that's how far that those date back. So just give me a little time and I'll kind of look at these and show you the different designs of them and where they came from, and maybe you'll enjoy looking at them as much as I enjoy having them from my ancestors. So like I said, just bear with me because I'm not real versed on the YouTube thing, and it really doesn't matter. I kind of tend to stick with the old ways and some of the newer stuff, and it just doesn't appeal to me as much as a lot of the older stuff. I have a lot of older stuff in my family that's been handed down that I use them right now over the old stuff. Don't get me wrong, none of the new stuff is good, you know, if that's what you're into, but myself, I just look at the older things that we can get back to, rather than so much modern living in our life that we have now. So that's where I'm coming from. So let me get to the knives. The first one we got it dates back to around 1813. It was one that, like I said, came down from Virginia to North Carolina, and of course this is a style, and they figured mostly butcher knives, you know, that's what they used, but you can see that it's full tang, homemade handle with just steel pins. And if you'll notice, the handle was cracked, and I've tried to repair it just a little bit just to keep it from falling off, but I don't use this knife whatsoever. I have this knife put up and it'll be passed on. I have 2 sons that are hunters, and I'm gonna pass this on to them, but I don't use this knife whatsoever. It's always put up, but it's straight with just a slight drop. You know, that's all I know about this knife. I know where it came from. I know it's been passed down to us, and it came down with them from Virginia to North Carolina. Now, the next one we look at, it gets a little bit more modern, I'll say, from that one there, and it dates back to around 1849, and this was my great granddaddy had this knife. Now you can see that this has been sharpened quite a bit and wore the metal down, wore the steel down. It's got the up with the drop on it, but this one here, it has the brass pins in it. You can see 3 brass pins that was done it, of course, with a handle. Now it's not. It's like a 3/4 tang, but the way I understand, they use this for trimming meat whenever they kill the hogs and everything. This is what they trim the meat with. But you can see this has been used. I don't use it now. It's put up to be passed along to my kids. The third one that I have is a knife that you can see it's been used also. It has more of a straighter point on the end of it. It's got a slight drop to it, more of a point with a smaller hand grip. And what this knife was, this came from my great granddaddy from around 1875, and they owned a big orchard, and this was a knife that they used in the orchard. You can see why. It's small. It would be good for coring or whatever you might want. It's a smaller knife, full tang with the steel pins. But you can see that would be a very good peeling knife like this. And you can see why that was a knife that they used in the orchard. So that's where that one came from, around 1875. Now the latest knife that I have, and this is still a knife that I use now when I go deer hunting or skinning or squirrel hunting or whatever. This came from my granddaddy, and it's a little bit different knife. Now where this one came from, this knife was given to him for his 10th birthday around 1918 by my great granddaddy, of course. So, and you can really see how it's changed into more of for a skinning knife, and that's what I use it for, because of the way the end is turned up to go in there. Because when you're skinning deer, put your fingers in, or squirrel, you go right up to skin that animal. Brass pins, full tang, and it's got a very comfortable handle. It's just amazing how comfortable that these handles are. You don't get that in a modern knife unless it's really some kind of composite or plastic or whatever. But that is just the best feeling knife, and I still use this. I carry it on my hip whenever I go hunting. I'm getting ready to go start deer hunting again here next month, so this one will be with me. And I use it in, kind of remembrance of him, because he used it and he's passed it on to me, and I'm going to be passing it on to my children as well. So that's just about 4 of the knives that I have. I have a couple, 3 more that are put up. I don't normally get them out, but this is just a, you take one from the different in the style from around the early 1800s here to the early 1900s, around 1918. You can see the difference in what it was used for. More than likely, this was would be styled for a butcher knife, for rendering when they cook the lard or whatever what they do there. So just a small sample of the knives that I appreciate. You any comments or anything you'd like to leave me. Like I said, I'm not a video junkie. I don't really know a whole lot about it, but hey, I can do what I can, and I hope you enjoyed this video and seeing a few of these knives that our forefathers and our people that from our heritage here in the South brought across with them from the old country. Thank you. I appreciate you viewing.